December 10th meeting. Does anybody have changes to those? Is there a motion then to approve? Anybody?
I move to approve.
Okay. Second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. We're now to the public forum. This time is set aside for public comments, but I don't see anybody, so I think we'll skip that. We'll discuss the information to include in the certified local government annual report.
Good evening. I'm filling in for Ray Anderson tonight, and I believe you were sent out on Friday, basically what's called Amendment A that goes with the CLG report for some input on questions 5 and 8. And so I'll just go through that. I think that attachment A included some ideas or a synopsis of some of the things that were done in 2018. There may be some things that were not mentioned that were done that need to be included, or vice versa. Pretty much these reports are similar every year, the same questions generally. I think this year they actually did add a little bit more, a question about what activities you plan for 2019. So we will need to talk a little bit about that as part of this, this whole thing. So, so as far as historic, let me just say, I was looking through some of the minutes, and it seems like there's a lot of discussion of ideas of things, and even including in October and December, ideas of some things that you might like to move forward on. But as far as I can tell, of course, I'm just from the outside and Ray's not here to ask, but it seems like that those things didn't necessarily get traction to move forward. And so I think we need to talk about not just brainstorming what could be done or what you would like, but also have a good idea how it might move forward, who would take the lead, and if there'd be a certain date in mind, and so forth. And so one of the things with the historic preservation is that they, and with your budget, that there's education and training funds available. And I believe many times you use those to go to a conference or something. Some of the previous years, there was some more activity. I know one year a brochure was put together that's still on the website. It's a walking brochure, and I think there was a walking tour. And I think there was some presentations from someone or several people that came in and spoke that became an avenue for the community to also hear. So I think what I'd like to do is just use that as an introduction, and instead of going through each of these questions exactly, open it up to you and see what your comments are. What kind of, what in this current draft is in there that you feel should be changed, but then especially on the second page, the successes and challenges.
Okay. Of the stuff that was listed, I didn't see anything that was inappropriate that needed to be pulled out, but I'm not sure if everything was covered, but I didn't, off the top of my head, I wasn't thinking of anything else that we had done.
Yeah. Had we checked all the boxes for the SHPO? I mean, going down the list of requirements for the commission, were we doing what we were obligated to do for them? I looked at the document, but I looked at it quickly.
I haven't reviewed that particularly to know 100%, but I think so. I know you're required to meet so many times a year.
Right.
And even though there were a couple months you did not meet, I think you did meet that requirement. And
We did do educational efforts. A
Right.
lot of us went to the Preserve Iowa Summit. Was it in the last calendar year that we had Steve Wilkie Shapiro come here, or was that the year before?
I think that was the
Year
prior
before.
year.
Okay.
Yes, because it was in spring.
Right.
yeah, I don't believe you had anyone come in this year to speak or present.
Okay.
Yes, I see that was May 8th, 2017.
Okay.
So I think the accomplishments are probably okay unless anybody can think of anything to add to them. But the challenges and what was accomplishments and challenges?
Successes and challenges. On the second page, item 8, are there any particular issues, challenges, or successes your Preservation Commission has encountered or accomplished this year?
And they're talking calendar year, right? Or is it federal?
Yes, they're looking for 2018.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Would
maybe, why don't I just start with, I know there was some discussion about, I think that maybe Peter had mentioned, and you weren't at that meeting, but Ray had conveyed your email about different people that could come in, or you could talk with other heads of historic
Right.
preservation commissions and so forth and so on. Are there any of those things in particular that you absolutely want to do, or that you want to get a consensus from your peers on? And then if so, what's the timeline? When would you like to try to accomplish it, and who's going to take the lead?
Yeah.
Well, I like the idea that Ted had brought up about having someone from the state SHPO come in to talk about use of tax credits and that type of stuff. Something that would be to open up to the neighborhood, Old Town, as well as to the downtown historic. Particularly the downtown, since it's the first year that all of that is eligible.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a wonderful idea. New commercial district, income producing properties. I mean, it's custom made for use of the federal tax credit. I think we need to promote that as best we can.
When would you like to try to do that? I mean, obviously, the person that comes has to be available, but
Right.
on your timeline, when do you see that being achievable?
Well, it's one of the things we've talked about in the past, that we would like to have it when ISU students
Yeah.
would be able to access it as well as just the general public. And so that sort of means by probably April or between September and, but if we're doing it in this city fiscal year, we're probably talking
Well,
March or April.
I think you could do it when either. I don't think it has to be this fiscal year. And I mean, for the report, it's for the 2019 calendar year. So obviously, you would want
Either
to
one would work.
make sure you use your budget appropriately during this fiscal year, but then you do have next fiscal year too.
Yeah.
So it's your preference.
I think that's low hanging fruit. I mean, the SHPO folks are this is what they do, and they travel around the state making a pitch for tax credits. And I think they would be more than willing to make the half-hour trip up from Des Moines to talk to business owners here. I think it's more a function of trying to get enough people in the downtown district, to attend a meeting and
I
hear
know
about
that
what.
we have the downtown facade grant program, which isn't tied, through this commission.
Right.
But the postcards just went out for that today, and that deadline, I believe, is the end of February for this round. I don't remember when the next round is, but obviously if somebody's wanting to apply, they already have to have done some legwork probably to be able to turn it around in time for the deadline. But it's possible that this presentation could help somebody move toward that,
Right, or supplement the facade
right, that
Rehab.
they could
program.
be inspired to.
Right, right. I mean, is there a good time and a bad time for retailers downtown to attend a meeting like this? Will we stand a better chance of attracting people in the spring over the fall, or vice versa?
I don't know as far as spring or versus fall. I think
Yeah.
either would be
Okay.
good. Or equally
Yeah.
good.
Why don't we aim for April? And I don't know, would you be able to make a contact with SHPO?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, yep.
And I assume city staff would, if we can get it, city staff would then publicize it. to
Right,
the-
we could work with our publicity people at the city to
Okay,
help get the word out. But you guys may have ideas on how to do that as well. But that would give several months lead time, so that would be good.
Yeah. Would we be obligated to have it in this venue on this date, or could it be kind of off on site somewhere downtown? Could we have it at Design on Main or another building?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
Ben, do you know anything about the board, the commission getting together if there has to be if they're meeting somewhere off-site?
I don't. I know meetings, we have to record it some way. I mean, some meetings we have, like during budget season, we'll do meetings in another room, if we're doing stuff in the chamber. So in that case, we record via audio and record the meetings. I would say that it's something you might want to follow up with Mark on there,
Yeah.
or if she might know.
It might be good to have it in this facility because we could then have it recorded.
yeah.
And I
yeah.
know I attended one in the previous city I worked in. We had a SHPO person come, two of them actually, and they invited other commissions from other locales in the area. And it was very well attended, and we tried to record it ourselves and did not really have the great setup and so forth to make it available for people who weren't there to be able to see the material.
That is the one advantage of having it here, because then it becomes available as an on-demand video.
Sometimes there might be something associated with the presentation where it actually go out in the field and look at things.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would be the case in this presentation or not, but they might be some kind of walking tour associated with that, with the presentation, so it's not just all inside.
So it would be the second Monday in April. that
Well, I
day?
mean, I don't know that you have to do that date per se, although we know that this
Yeah,
Chambers is
yeah.
available that time. So maybe that's
Yeah.
when you plan for it
Okay.
initially, at least.
I'd say target that, and if,
So it'd be
There,
on Monday
yeah.
then?
yeah, it'd be our regular
Okay.
meeting date for April, if it works.
Yeah. Would this be a good time for property owners downtown? Are they closing up right around now? I mean,
This time?
yes. This would work for them, do you think?
Yeah. I think 6:00. Yeah, on a Monday, yeah.
Okay.
Most stores close by 6, if not all.
Is there anything else we'd like to target for the coming calendar year?
How many of you are hoping to attend the training this summer?
The conference, do you mean?
Yes.
Or the-
Yeah.
I'm speaking again.
Oh, okay.
And that is in July, is that
In
right?
June.
Beginning of June.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's in
Where is it?
Newton.
Newton.
It's in
Okay.
Newton.
I will be out of the state at that time, so I won't be able to go.
Well, I will target it, trying to get to it.
Yeah, I would expect myself.
It's
could I-
June 6th through the 8th in Newton
Okay.
Preserve Iowa Summit. So that's good to keep on your calendars is
Yeah.
hopefully it's something to do. I know in some of the previous minutes, there was some discussion about the website.
Mhm.
And so I think there was a lot of questions about what you could do or what would be appropriate. But if you were just to look at what we have on there as the city, is there anything in particular that, like I also noticed there was some discussion about, maybe it was a while ago, about an interactive map, maybe of historic properties or something. And I don't know what happened with that, but is there anything in particular that you feel that the current website is lacking that you want to try to
Yeah.
include?
We've had this, pardon me we've had this discussion before, and I do think it's an important discussion to continue. I know in other cities, a robust website is a way of, nipping problems in the bud, and preventing, property owners from coming to us with work that's already been done and, after the fact applying for COAs. What I would like to see on the website, and I know you can't just snap your fingers and have it done, but something that emulates what the city of Dubuque has done. And I know that we've talked about that
Yeah.
before, and they just do a really nice job of providing very visual, very graphic do's and don'ts for properties within an historic district. But I also like the idea of an interactive map because there's a lot of confusion in that respect as well. I mean, you have how many properties in the district? Couple hundred in the residential district.
I think about 300 and plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think probably about 300 of those are contributing. But unless you
Yeah.
dig, you're not going to know as a property owner whether your property is contributing or non-contributing. So to have a GIS-y type map online that very clearly distinguishes between contributing and non-contributing, and the expectations for property owners with respect to those two designations. Again, I think that makes our job easier as commissioners. We'll stave off a lot of problems that we wouldn't, that would become problems if people aren't sure what.
Yeah, there are maps showing each of the, like an aerial photo showing what is contributing, as well as there's also a map showing the contributing garages, which is a new feature that a lot of people probably aren't that aware whether their garage meets those standards. And I'm not sure either one of those are even available through the website.
I don't think we have that on our website.
So I definitely think something where you could put in an address and find out would be good, but if nothing else, just to get those maps
Yeah.
themselves out there with the information as to what the implications are
Right,
if
right,
you are on there.
So who makes that happen? Like, what do we have to do then? Do we,
Well,
I think we have to I think we request that the staff get that into the,
Yeah,
Work plan
I
for
don't
the-
know that process, but I think that's a good starting place
yeah,
to put as a goal that you would like to add more helpful data to the website to, like you said, stave off problems.
Right.
And then I could see what the process is
Yeah, I think we've been told before it needs to get into the work plan
Mhm.
for the information
Right.
office or whatever.
Yeah, I know that the
for the year.
difficulty is if it is something that requires very much staff time, then it has to probably come through the city council as an approved priority.
Mhm.
But at the same time, some of that is, more with our GIS people
Yeah.
that planning. So, but then in some cases, some of it might just be something that's available that we just put on there.
Right.
So if there's things that you know of that are kind of ready to go they're just a matter of posting it or changing something that's simple,
Mhm.
anything like that, that's very doable. That's not going to be a priority concern or time concern.
Right.
Well, would somebody like to make a motion that we would like staff to pursue that? I think if we get it in the minutes, it probably keeps things moving. So.
I would make a motion that staff investigate the possibility of enhancing the website in such a way that property owners, both in the Old Town District, but also in the new Downtown Commercial District, have additional information about their properties, about whether or not they're on the National Register, and if so, if they're contributing or non-contributing, and then I suppose on the heels of that, what it means if you're an owner of one or the other type of properties.
Somebody like to second?
I will
That's
second
Too long-winded for it.
that.
It would be interesting too, and I know staff doesn't have enough time probably to look into this, but it would be interesting to look back X number of years and determine, how many COAs we've seen in this commission that came to us due to a lack of knowledge on the part of property owners. I mean, that would be a justification for why the city should make an effort to digitize this information and get that out there. The other argument that might be made too is that you have a bunch of property owners in the downtown now who are eligible for federal tax credits. But I guarantee most of them don't know if their building, they may know their building is in the district, but they don't know if it's contributing or non-contributing, and they don't know what it means if it is contributing. So I think there's, kind of a win-win here, depending on which district you're in for different reasons. But this is not
Sounds
just
like
idle.
some of this could be associated with having the fellow or felt or
Person.
the person, the person from
Representative.
SHPO speak,
Yeah.
associated with that. Either the lead up to that or
Yeah.
follow up to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and the information is all there. It's just a matter of getting into a format that people can use online. I think
Are
that's the
there,
trick.
are there websites that you know of that other places have some of these things on there that you've seen that are examples that you would like to
Is that-
emulate?
Dubuque one.
I always,
Or-
I'm always evoking Dubuque. I don't think they have that. I could be
Okay.
wrong, but I've not seen it. I mean, this is a common complaint with developers who want to make use of the tax credit. They don't know what's out there. They don't know what's historic. They don't know what's eligible for the tax credit. So I think this, not a lot of cities are doing this.
I would just ask if any of you can take time to look at websites of other historic commissions and see if there's things that you
Okay.
like or that we don't have on there that would make sense. I think that's kind of a low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
If it's something easy
Mhm.
to
I would
replicate.
Yeah, I would encourage staff and my fellow commissioners to, it's a different scale, I know, but the city of Los Angeles has done a wonderful job. I mean, their challenges are, exponentially large compared to ours, but they have a highly developed preservation website that does a lot of what we're talking about. In addition to other things like crowdsourcing input of data, which I think is an interesting idea. So, different scale, but
Cover the
Get
same
the juices
basis.
flowing, I
Yeah.
think, a little bit, yeah.
And the aerial documents that you mentioned, where are those currently?
I think they're
I
PDFs.
think they're PDFs and I think they've been presented to us here, but I don't think they've been made,
Because that sounds like something we can
put
just
out to
say,
the public.
put those online.
At least for Old Town, I know I've seen them and I
Mhm.
think I probably have a copy on my computer at home.
Because that's something that could be done
Right.
quickly,
Right.
just to get them up on the website with a link.
Let's go ahead and have a vote on the motion.
Is that it?
Yeah.
All those in favor of asking staff to pursue this, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So that passes. We'll get that
Okay.
in our minutes.
I'll bring some information back to you at
Okay.
your next meeting. Let you know what, from the staff perspective, what we can do. And then we talk about that further.
Yeah,
Did you finish, going through chapter 31? I know you were looking at the zoning ordinance to see, I think every 4 years you're supposed to review it, and I think you were talking about that back in October.
well, it was the preservation
The
plan.
preservation plan.
We just sort of started and then I think we had a month that we didn't meet and it sort of lost its
Mhm.
momentum.
Okay,
So I think we do need to proceed with that. We were talking about, one of the things that was being discussed was, were there any neighborhoods that might be interested in assistance in pursuing, researching the background of their neighborhood for possibility of listing on the historic register. And that was just sort of broached, but never really fully discussed.
okay.
Okay.
So you did not go through the zoning chapter at all yet?
No.
Okay,
The chapter 31 you're
Uh-huh.
talking about. No. We just talked about the preservation plan, not that chapter.
okay.
Is the preservation plan part of the chapter?
N-
Is it one of the subsections of the?
And I think it's
No,
separate document.
it's a
They've never
separate
done one?
document.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the bylaws for your commission say that every 4 years you're supposed to review the zoning ordinance that applies to historic preservation.
That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
No,
So
we have not done that.
that would have been something that probably should have happened last year, but we can make sure we
Okay.
try to keep a eye on it this year and plan to, how would you want to approach that? Would you want to try to go through the whole chapter all at once, or maybe like start with a certain part and break it up into parts to review it? What makes the most sense?
I think it would probably be to break it up. But part of what I've been asking for the last couple months is to try to get some report from staff as to how many things are coming in to be reviewed. Because the big change in chapter 31 4 or 5 years ago was to allow staff to do a lot of the reviews without everything coming to this commission. And so we sort of need to know what is happening that doesn't get to us,
Mhm.
because I would like to have it added as a routine part of the agenda to have a report each month of what has happened since the last time we met. And that would cover those months when we don't meet, but,
Do you guys want to vote on that?
okay. Anybody, can I make a motion as chair, or I don't know on this? Okay. Would anybody like to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No opposed? We'll pass that. So have that added on the agenda each time as a staff report on any staff reviews. But I think that's part of the information we need to know. If the procedures that were put in place are functioning well, is because we are really not seeing much here at the commission. But that was the intent, is that every little thing didn't have to come to us. But it's still important to know whether it is where it is, there is a process and it is churning through things.
Mhm.
One thing that I'm curious about, just because last spring it seemed like there was a little bit of a deluge of applications and things that came to you, and then there was a real lull. But in looking at the people who applied and received, a COA, they're not anywhere close to being done. And I know one person looks like he really hardly has started. I don't know if there's a reason, if there's difficulty finding contractors that do this kind of work, or what the obstacles are. But from your past experience, has that been an issue with the COAs where they have 12 months, but they haven't taken action to get the work done?
That's part of what we don't know ourselves unless staff brings it up to us.
I didn't
Or
know if you
physically
might
drive.
know
Yeah.
from just driving around and
Right.
noticing.
Well, I do know that a couple of the ones that we've dealt with in this last year have not, as far as I can see driving around the neighborhood, have not even started anything.
Mhm.
And so I think that's a good comment to that we need to set up some kind of tracking.
I think the ones that I was involved in, it would be easy enough for me to contact the person and just find out kind of where they're at and what obstacles they've encountered.
Mhm.
But it might be something that would be something that you, as a commission, you could get involved in and trying to be a resource to help people know. I don't know if there could be some resource, but something to help them get over the difficulties, or, with development, the people that do it all the time know everything. And so oftentimes when it's somebody that has done it before, there's a lot of hurdles to try to get work accomplished. And I would think it's the same with this kind of thing where people, may not know how to best proceed to even accomplish it in the right way, because some people don't want to be bothered with smaller projects, or may not have the expertise, or I don't know. So maybe we could try to get some information on that and bring that back to you. But that might be something to be thinking about too. If you
Well,
know.
I think that fits in the challenges that we don't have any real tracking mechanism.
Compliance.
Uh,
and
That we hear some of these things and negotiate a solution, but whether then they may not ever proceed to completion.
Mhm.
Anything else for,
Well, there probably are some other challenges. We were talking more about, I think, things you want to get accomplished. But I guess one of the challenges was the website or the public knowledge. I guess
Yeah.
that's one of them as well.
anything else to add to the list, either of things we want to do in the next year or just challenges?
I think there was also some discussion on some kind of signage for the downtown.
The
or
new
some
district,
Kind
or-
of, where, did that go anywhere or did any?
We talked about that in December. And yeah, I'm interested in pursuing that and getting more information and talking with Ames Main Street and the Historical Society to see about getting a plaque. And you all had some ideas too about possibly including the industrial engineering department and the ISU preservation students to even see about input. So yeah, so now I just have a bunch of ideas that I get to play with. But yes, I do want to pursue that about getting a nice sign to show that we are on the National Historic Register now for downtown.
If we put you on the agenda for a future meeting, when would you want to speak to that again?
March. Did you all have any ideas about that as far as, being at the university, as far as the industrial engineering department and your students, how they might play a role?
I'd have to give it more thought, but
Okay.
the graphic design, industrial engineering people do fabulous work.
Right.
So, I mean, if there's an opportunity to involve them, I'm sure if it works into their classes and their schedule, that's a great idea.
Mhm.
I mean, I think that's one of the challenges in preservation in general is publicizing, the places that we designate as historic, and we see the signs around the Old Town neighborhood, but they don't really get people's attention to the extent that they could. And so to get an enterprising young student or group of students to think, outside the box and try to come up with a way to really promote the work that's been done in the downtown, that would be ideal. It'd be great.
My wife works for IMSE, the Industrial Mechanical Science and Engineering, or whatever the department is. Before we leave, I'll get you a contact over there I know in Black Engineering where she works, they have the kilns and the furnaces for casting. I've seen them with my own eyes, so I know it's there.
Mhm. Okay.
That'd be great.
I think I have what I need for the report.
Okay.
It's not due till the end of February, so if need be, we can talk about anything more in February. But hopefully I'll get them for that.
Okay, let's move on to discussing the plans for the Historic Preservation Awards Program. And that starts with, do we want to do it this year? I think it was last year that we didn't have any.
Right, we didn't have any applications at all. So last year we sent out notices to the neighborhoods through our neighborhood contacts. And then, and when we send those, it goes to like the lead person. And so some neighborhoods are more diligent about getting it out to all their members than some of the others. But I mean, there could be a property that's restored that's not even on the register or in the old town
Right.
or something that we
It-
don't know about.
It's not limited to officially designated
I don't
historic
think
properties.
so.
Because I know a couple years ago, we had some out on the fringe of town, that the question was it even within the city boundaries to, and we went ahead and recognized them, even though we weren't sure that it was officially city, but it was close enough that the commission decided that it was worth recognition. So, I guess my feeling would be that it's a good idea to go ahead and if we don't get them, we don't get them. But I think, and the city also puts it in the paper, I think, the solicitation.
We
And
put out a
stuff,
press
so.
release that goes out,
so,
and we put it on the website.
do other people feel that this is something that's worthwhile doing?
So the focus is rehabilitation. Is that correct? Or is it just preservation activity in general or?
Well,
There was a copy of the nomination form, I think, that was emailed on Friday.
Oh, right, right.
Okay.
There's
And so it has different categories. One is the award type. There's under structural awards, there's historic rehabilitation, restoration, historic preservation, and adaptive reuse. And under special awards is architecturally compatible new additions or structures, historic landscape sites or site features, and significant achievement in historic preservation. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
options.
Yeah, yeah.
I know in the past that special achievement has included the Old Town Neighborhood Association received recognition for the walking tour that they published. So, I mean, so it can go beyond, can recognize promotion type things.
Right. And do people self-nominate or is it, do we nominate? Who nominates? I
I
can't
think anyone can
Anyone, yeah.
nominate.
And it can be
Self-nominate or
self-nominated.
someone can
Yeah.
nominate as long as they have,
I think,
you don't even have to have you have to put who's nominating the property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, you don't have to even have a signature from the property owner. You just need their information.
So are you looking at, when you say discuss plans for the 2019 Historic Preservation Awards Program, are you looking for potential nominees or are you just, do you want us to discuss the program, what it's trying to achieve?
I think we need to know if we want to go forward with the program this year. And then if, if you know of potential nominees, I think that's something you could go to those people and let them know that this is out there, that
yeah, the material included time frame that the publicity and notification would be later this month with deadlines, I think, by the end of, early March or was
the
it?
deadline would probably be February 22nd.
Okay,
And then that gives time for, before your March meeting, to put the information together to give you at your March meeting so you can make a determination.
and then the awards are done by the city council in April, I think. Was it?
Right, as part of Preservation Month.
Is
I
there
think
a-
the end of April, they give them out and then also do the,
Are these are projects completed within the previous calendar year?
I think it said 3 years.
3 years, okay.
Is there a list of prior awards somewhere? So we know what has already been nominated?
I would guess that we could find out.
be in
I don't know if
past
we actually
minutes,
have a
but-
list or if we would.
They don't
make
keep a
lists,
a
but,
list of it? Okay.
But I
All
mean,
right.
something like what we were talking about when we were first here before the meeting about new construction infill could fit the category, so.
Right,
there a-
that's within the last 3 years.
Okay. Is there a motion to proceed with sponsoring the awards this year?
So moved.
Okay. Second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? So we will proceed with that and ask that staff go ahead with the notifications.
All right, we'll get that out right away.
Does staff, has staff been promoting this? I mean, is it on the website or?
Well, like I said, we will send out an
Yeah.
email to the neighborhoods and it'll have a link to the website
Okay.
where they can get to the nomination form. And then it will be, a press release will go out. That was the extent of what I did last year because I didn't, personally know of individuals to say, hey, please pay attention to this. You might want to apply, but that would certainly be a really great thing for you guys to be proactive and letting people know. And
Yeah,
the press release, I would say, will be in the paper within the week. So,
Can you do a Facebook post too on the city website?
yeah, I think
Page.
so.
Because that would be something that we can all share
How
then
long
on
has
our.
this been awarded? How many years?
it's probably about at least 10 years.
10 years, okay.
It may be more than that, but
And it's an annual
Yeah.
event,
Mhm.
okay.
Right, it's annual.
I know in the past, the Habitat House on Duff was given an award as an infill.
Mm.
That, was carefully crafted to meet they made it look like a story and a half when it was really a one story and stuff like that. But it ended up, other than not landscaping the ramp real well,
Mhm.
it did come out looking like it fit in the historic district.
All
I
right.
think, yeah, there's some, maybe not for this year, but there are some exciting projects in the hopper right now, like Crawford School.
Right.
In Scan, I drive by it all the time, and obviously, a lot of work has been done there to create a sensitive,
Yeah.
sizable new addition while keeping the original school. So.
Well, it wouldn't be a bad idea to mention it to them.
Yeah.
Because it'd be, hopefully they're taking pictures all along the way
Yeah.
to show the work.
Yeah.
But if, maybe if they're keeping in mind that that this is available to apply for and they're not ready yet, they would at least
Yeah.
be able to take some pictures maybe that they wouldn't think to do otherwise. I don't know.
Okay. Are there any commission comments on other items? Do we have staff comments?
I think I've made enough comments. Thank you.
Well, then is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.